Welcome back. A State House committee signed off on a brand new license plate like the one you see here, and the goal is to increase awareness of childhood cancers, and it is the brainchild of this young man, an Aurora teenager named Gabriel Santesteven.
I came up with the idea because I see license plates really everywhere, and you don't see one for childhood cancer. I'm going to create one so that way we can spread awareness so that more people know about this illness.
And if this plate is approved, drivers would make a donation to an organization that helps kids with cancer if they choose to get the plate. The full House still needs to vote on this proposal, and no word right now when that might happen. Our roads, always a touchy subject, and now you may get to decide whether state money should be used to repair our roads. If approved in 2019, you would get to vote on whether $250 million per year from the state's general fund will be devoted to road projects. It also calls for injecting $500 million into transportation projects in the fiscal year that starts July 1st. Well, there is a lot more going on at the state capitol right now, and as always, we ask Marianne Goodland, the chief State House reporter for ColoradoPolitics.com, to bring us insight because she knows everything that's going on inside the capitol. First, let's start in the weeds. Lucia Guzman stepped away. What was that all about?
Senator Guzman, up until Thursday, was the minority leader of the Senate Democrats, and she decided on Thursday to leave that post. She's not leaving her Senate seat, but she's just stepping down as the leader. With a little more than 6 weeks left to go in the legislative session. At first she said she thought it would be good to have new blood coming in, and the assistant minority leader, Leroy Garcia Pueblo, is now in that position. However, after she made the announcement, the real reason came out, and it's over this whole sexual harassment business. On Monday, Senator Beth Martinez-Humanic, a Republican from Thornton, filed a complaint, a formal complaint, about a member of the Democratic Senate who'd used the wrong bathroom.
So really, Senator Guzman is just frustrated with
she is extremely frustrated.
These conversations are happening.
She said after this complaint came out on Monday, that really was the last straw for her. She can no longer work with the Republican leadership of the Senate and decided to step down as a result.
Let's talk about some of the bills that failed this week. We're talking concealed carry, bump stocks, but what's the caveat here with those?
The caveat with these is that these bills are assigned to what's known as a kill committee, and they both go by the same name in the House and Senate, the State Veterans and Military Affairs. A bill that gets sent there by the leadership of each chamber is a bill usually comes from the opposite party, and it's destined to die.
You know it's going to go away. Yes.
And, yeah, it's the outcome is pretty much determined well before the hearing. And this week we had the bump stock bill in the State Affairs Committee in the Senate, and a bill on allowing concealed weapons without a permit, and that went to the House Kill Committee. Both of them died on party line votes, as was expected. The one thing that was interesting to me about the vote on the hearing on the concealed weapons bill is that a member of the public who was actually opposed to that bill asked that the committee send it to the House floor. She said, if you've got the votes to kill this bill, send it to the floor, because I want to know how our representatives will vote on this.
And that was unusual.
Very. That's not an argument I've heard before, and it really speaks to, I think, some frustration that's starting to grow about the role of these kill committees.
Interesting. All right. The state budget comes out on Monday. What are you seeing in that?
First of all, of course, it's the $500 million that Governor Hickenlooper said he wanted to put toward transportation. There's another $200 million that he is proposed, and the Joint Budget Committee accepted, to put toward paying down what's known as the negative factor. And this is a debt, basically, to K-12 education that's been around since about 2010. It's been whittled down a little bit here and a little bit there over the last couple of years, but it's still at $828 million. So this is going to make a sizable dent in that debt. The other thing that the budget doesn't have is funding for the Civil Rights Commission. They never resolved that issue.
That's still going on.
That heated up quite a bit this week. The House voted on the bill to continue the Civil Rights Commission, and all but 2 of the House's 28 or 27 Republicans voted against continuing the commission, and that's a vote that makes a lot of people very nervous.
Did anyone even think that this would go on this long?
Yeah, because the real fight over the Civil Rights Commission is not in the House, where the Democrats had more than enough votes to do whatever they wanted with that bill. The real fight is when it gets to the Senate, because the changes that Republicans want to see in all likelihood will make its way onto that bill, and then it's going to be up to the two chambers to resolve the differences, and that's where the next big fight will be.
And that was who sits on the commission and that power struggle and so forth. I know we don't have time to go into details about that, because it's a great topic, but okay, the surplus, it's much bigger than really anyone was anticipating, which I guess is a good thing.
Certainly lawmakers are
right,
getting out the state checkbook and saying, let's spend that money. Obviously the $500 million for transportation, the $200 million for K-12 education. There are lots of other ideas being floated about where to spend the rest. Things like restoring the state severance tax funds, which have been docked to cover all kinds of shortages in the state budget for several years. That's an idea that's been floated. So we'll wait and see just what's...
Yes, get that checkbook out. I love that. All right. Thanks, Marianne Goodland, as always. By the way, if you ever have a question or a segment idea, you can tweet us at Denver 7 Politics. And don't forget, you can watch today's segments anytime at thedenverchannel.com/Politics Unplugged. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you back here next Sunday for another edition of Politics Unplugged.